Daniel's eyes opened slowly, adjusting to the light. Then he heard movement in the kitchen. The soft clink of ceramic, the quiet hum of someone who didn't belong there. He turned his head, and his entire body froze. A woman stood in his kitchen, her dark hair slightly disheveled, falling around her shoulders in waves. She wore his white dress shirt, the good one he saved for rare occasions, and nothing else visible except her bare legs. She moved with casual confidence, pouring coffee into a mug as if this were the most natural thing in the world. She turned, caught his stare, and smiled. A knowing smile. Amused. You really don't remember last night, do you? Daniel's mouth opened. No words came out. His brain scrambled for memories, for context, for anything that made sense. Wait, who are you? She set the coffee mug down slowly, deliberately. Her eyes held his with an intensity that made his heart race. I'm the woman whose car you saved, and the woman whose company owns your house. The words hung in the air like smoke. Daniel stood up, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. His mind reeled. What was she talking about? What company? Why was she in his shirt? Before he could form a coherent response, he heard the soft patter of small feet in the hallway. Daddy? His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, emerged from her bedroom. She had his brown skin, his quick smile, and eyes that seemed to see everything. Her curly hair was still wild from sleep, sticking up in adorable directions. Lily stopped when she saw the woman. Her eyes went wide. The woman looked down at Lily, and something in her expression softened. She knelt, bringing herself to eye level with the child. Just someone your dad saved, she said gently. Daniel's mind was still catching up. He needed to rewind. He needed to remember. 24 hours earlier, Daniel Cross wasn't living the life he'd imagined. Once, he'd been an engineer with a promising career, working on design projects that excited him. But life had other plans. Divorce came first, then his ex-wife walking away completely, leaving him with full custody of Lily. Then came the layoffs. Now he was a handyman, a jack of all trades who fixed broken pipes, rewired old houses, patched roofs, and did whatever paid the bills. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't stable. But it was honest work, and it kept food on the table. He'd been teaching Lily one important lesson since she was old enough to understand. We may be broke, sweetheart, but we don't break. She'd nod, seriously, her little face determined. We don't break, Daddy. That night, Daniel had been finishing a late job, replacing a water heater in an old building across town. The storm had come out of nowhere, the way spring storms sometimes do. Rain hammered down like nails, thunder cracked the sky open, and lightning turned the world white every few seconds. Daniel drove his aging pickup truck through the flooded streets, wipers working overtime, barely keeping up with the deluge. He needed to get home. Lily was with Mrs. Chun next door, but he hated leaving her overnight. That's when he saw it. Through the curtain of rain, illuminated by a flash of lightning, a luxury sedan wrapped around a tree on the side of the road. The front end was crushed, smoke rising from the crumpled hood. The headlights flickered weakly like dying fireflies. Daniel didn't think, didn't calculate the risk, didn't wonder if someone else would stop. He pulled over, jumped out of his truck, and ran through the rain. The car was expensive. Even damaged, Daniel could tell it cost more than he made in a year. Maybe 2 years. The windows were tinted, but he could see movement inside. He reached the driver's side door and peered in. A woman sat trapped behind the wheel, her face pale as death, eyes wide with terror. She wore a black business suit, white shirt beneath, and a watch that caught the lightning, platinum, diamonds, the kind of watch that had its own insurance policy. The seatbelt had her pinned. She was struggling against it, panicking. Help! She gasped when she saw him. Please! I can't breathe. The smoke was getting thicker. Daniel could smell gasoline. Hold still, he commanded. He tried the door. Locked. Electronic locks, dead from the crash. Daniel didn't hesitate. He grabbed a rock from the roadside and smashed the driver's side window. Glass shattered, rain poured in. He reached through, unlocked the door manually, and pulled it open. The woman was hyperventilating, her chest rising and falling too fast. "Listen to me," Daniel said firmly, his hands working on the seatbelt mechanism. "You're going to be okay. I need you to stay calm." "I can't. There's something wrong. I can't breathe." The seatbelt was jammed. Daniel pulled out his pocket knife, began sawing through the thick fabric. His hands were steady despite the adrenaline flooding his system. Almost there. Almost. The belt gave way. Daniel pulled her out of the car, half carrying, half dragging her away from wreckage. She collapsed against him, her legs unable to support her weight. They were 20 feet away when the engine sparked. A small flame appeared beneath the hood. Then another. Then the night exploded in orange and yellow as the car erupted into fire. The woman screamed, buried her face in Daniel's chest. He held her, shielding her from the heat, from the sight of what would have been her death. "You're safe," he said quietly. "I've got you." She was shaking violently, whether from shock or cold or fear. He couldn't tell. Probably all three. Her breathing was still shallow, panicked. He recognized the signs of a panic attack. The hospital was miles away. The storm had flooded half the roads in the area. His phone had no signal. The towers must be down. Daniel made a decision. "My house is close. We need to get you warm and dry. Then I'll call an ambulance." She nodded weakly, unable to speak. He helped her to his truck, settled her in the passenger seat, cranked the heat up as high as it would go. She sat there shivering, staring straight ahead with glassy eyes. Daniel drove carefully through the flooded streets. His small house appeared through the rain like a lighthouse, modest, a bit run down, but home. He helped her inside, guided her to his bedroom, the only real bedroom in the house. Lily slept in what was technically a large closet they'd converted, but she loved it, called it her princess cave. Daniel grabbed towels, helped the woman out of her soaking wetsuit jacket. She was barely conscious now, running on empty. "You need to get out of those wet clothes," he said. "I'll leave something dry for you. Can you manage?" She nodded vaguely. Daniel left his white dress shirt on the chair, the only clean shirt he had that might fit her, and retreated to the living room, closing the door behind him. He heard movement inside, slow and clumsy. Then silence. He waited 5 minutes, then knocked gently. "Are you okay?" No answer. He opened the door carefully. She was on his bed, wearing his shirt, wrapped in blankets. Unconscious, but breathing steadily now. Her color was returning. Daniel checked her pulse. Strong enough. He positioned her carefully, made sure she could breathe easily, left a glass of water on the nightstand. Then he grabbed a pillow and a thin blanket, went to the couch, and settled in for the night. Around midnight, he heard the soft creak of Lily's door. She appeared in the doorway of the living room, her favorite stuffed rabbit clutched in one hand, her eyes worried. "Daddy? I heard noises. Who's in your room?" Daniel sat up. "There was a car accident, sweetheart. A lady was hurt. She needed help. Is she going to be okay?" "I think so. She just needs rest." Lily climbed onto the couch next to him, curled up against his side. "You saved her." "I helped her." "That's the same thing." Lily looked up at him with absolute faith. "You're a good person, Daddy. I'm just doing what's right, baby girl. That's what makes you good." Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the hallway. For just a moment, Daniel could see through the bedroom doorway to the woman sleeping in his bed. Even unconscious, even in crisis, there was something about her. An aura of strength, power, authority. This wasn't some random person. Who was she? Daniel woke to the smell of coffee. He sat up, momentarily disoriented. Then he remembered the storm, the crash, the woman. He heard movement in the kitchen. Water running. Cabinets opening and closing. Daniel stood, ran a hand over his face, tried to wake up properly. Then he walked toward the kitchen. And that's when his world tilted on its axis. The woman stood at his counter, wearing his white dress shirt like it was couture fashion. It fell to mid-thigh. On her, the sleeves rolled up, the top buttons undone, just enough to be distracting. Her dark hair was loose around her shoulders, slightly messy, but somehow perfect. She was pouring coffee into his chipped mug, moving with easy confidence, like she owned the place. She turned, saw him, and smiled. Not a polite smile, a knowing smile. Good morning. Daniel's face went hot. You're wearing my... You left me in wet clothes. Her voice was calm, almost amused. I found this on the chair. Hope you don't mind. Mind? His brain was short-circuiting. You could have. Could have what? She took a sip of coffee, watching him over the rim of the mug. You were very much a gentleman last night, Mr. Cross. Daniel Cross. Daniel. She repeated his name slowly, like she was tasting it. I'm Vivian. Before he could respond, Lily burst into the kitchen, already dressed for school, backpack bouncing on her shoulders. Who are you? Lily asked, no filter, pure curiosity. Vivian knelt down smoothly, bringing herself to Lily's eye level. Just someone your dad saved, she said softly. Lily studied her seriously. He does that. He saves people. Does he? He saved Mrs. Chen's cat from a tree, and he helped Mr. Rodriguez fix his car when it broke down. And he always helps me with my homework, even when he's really tired. Vivian glanced up at Daniel, something unreadable in her eyes. He sounded like a good man. The best, Lily said firmly. Daniel felt his face burning. Lily, go brush your teeth. We need to leave in 10 minutes. But Daddy... Now, please, sweetheart. Lily pouted but obeyed, dragging her feet dramatically as she left. The moment she was gone, the atmosphere in the kitchen changed, became heavier, charged. I can call you a taxi, Daniel said, his voice coming out stiffer than he intended, or an Uber, however you need to get wherever you need to go. No need. Vivian poured herself more coffee, completely at ease. My driver's been outside since 6 this morning. Daniel blinked. Your driver? He's waiting in the car. Has been for 2 hours. You could have left hours ago. I could have. She took another sip, watching him. But I wanted to thank you properly first. You just did. Did I? She set the mug down. I don't think I did. She reached into her expensive purse, which Daniel now noticed sitting on his kitchen table, still damp but clearly designer, and pulled out a wallet. Thick leather, probably Italian. She counted out cash. Hundreds. Daniel watched the bills stack up on his worn countertop. 5, 10, 15, 20, $2,000. This should cover last night, she said simply. Daniel stared at the money, then at her. Cover what? Helping me. The bed. The clothes. Everything. Something cold settled in his chest. I didn't do it for money. She shrugged, elegant, dismissive. Then considerate compensation for laundry service. That shirt probably needs dry cleaning now. That's when something inside Daniel snapped. He grabbed the money, all of it, and shoved it back toward her across the counter. Take it back? Her expression didn't change. Cool. Collected. In control. Most men would have taken it. I'm not most men. She tilted her head, studying him like he was a fascinating puzzle, an anomaly in her world. No, she said slowly. You're certainly not. She picked up the money, folded it carefully, put it back in her wallet. My mistake. I thought I was being generous. Generous? Daniel laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think throwing cash around makes you generous? You have no idea what generous even means. Then enlighten me. Her voice remained calm, but something flickered in her eyes. Challenge. Maybe anger. Generous is helping someone because it's the right thing to do. Not because you owe them. Not because you can afford it. Just because they need help. That's it. That's the whole equation. Silence filled the kitchen. For the first time, Vivian looked uncomfortable. She broke eye contact, glanced at the coffee mug in her hands. I see. Do you? Daniel turned away, started wiping down the already clean counter just to have something to do with his hands. Because from where I'm standing, you just tried to turn a decent act into a business transaction. Everything's not for sale. The words hung heavy in the air between them. Finally, Vivian spoke, quieter now, less certain. You're right. I apologize. Daniel didn't respond, didn't trust himself to. She walked toward the door, her bare feet silent on his worn linoleum. At the threshold, she stopped, looked back. "What did you say your name was?" "Daniel Cross." "Daniel Cross," she repeated like she was committing it to memory. "I won't forget it." Then she left, the door closing softly behind her. Lily emerged from the bathroom immediately, toothbrush still in hand. "Is she your girlfriend now?" Despite everything, Daniel almost smiled. "No, honey, she's just complicated. I think she likes you." "What makes you say that?" "Because she looked at you the way you look at pizza." Daniel burst out laughing, the tension finally breaking. "Like I want to eat her?" "No, silly. Like she makes you happy. Or wants to make you happy. I don't know. Grown-up stuff is weird." He pulled her into a hug, kissed the top of her head. "You're too smart for 7 years old. You know that? Mrs. Chun says I'm an old soul. Mrs. Chun is right." That afternoon, after dropping Lily at school and finishing a quick repair job, Daniel stopped at the grocery store. He counted his money carefully, $43 until Friday's paycheck. Enough for rice, eggs, some vegetables. Maybe a small treat for Lily if he stretched it. At home, he turned on the TV while cooking, more for background noise than anything else. The local news played, traffic, weather, some political story he wasn't paying attention to. Then he heard it. Breaking news tonight. CEO Vivian Ashford, survivor of last night's devastating car crash, returned to work today, just hours after the accident. Sources say a local resident pulled her from her burning vehicle moments before it exploded. Daniel froze, wooden spoon in hand. He turned slowly to look at the screen. There she was, Vivian, but not the vulnerable woman from his kitchen. This Vivian wore a sharp charcoal business suit, her hair perfectly styled, standing in front of a massive glass building. The logo behind her read Ashford Global in sleek letters 20 feet tall. The reporter continued. Ms. Ashford refused to name her rescuer, but she did have this to say. The screen cut to Vivian, surrounded by microphones and cameras, flashing lights illuminating her face. He was kind, humble, and he refused payment. Her voice was strong, controlled. "That's the kind of integrity you can't buy. That's the kind of character I respect." Daniel stood there, completely still, trying to process what he was seeing. "Daddy?" He jumped. Lily was home. He'd completely lost track of time. Mrs. Chun must have picked her up from school. "Daddy, that's the lady from this morning. The one in your shirt." "Yeah, kiddo. It is." Lily's eyes went wide. "She's on TV. She's famous." "Seems like it." "Why didn't you tell me she was famous?" "Because I didn't know." Lily climbed onto a kitchen chair, bouncing with excitement. "You saved the CEO. That's so cool. Wait until I tell everyone at school." Daniel turned off the TV, went back to stirring the rice, but his mind was racing. Vivian Ashford, CEO of Ashford Global, one of the richest women in the country, known for hostile takeovers, building empires, destroying competitors who got in her way. And he'd just thrown her money in her face and lectured her about generosity. He started laughing. "Couldn't help it. What's funny, Daddy?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Just my life being ridiculous, as usual. Do you think she'll come back?" "I doubt it, Lily. People like her don't come back to neighborhoods like ours." "I hope she does. I liked her." Daniel ruffled her curls. "You like everyone." "Not everyone. Just nice people. And she seemed nice. Under all the fancy stuff." Maybe Lily was right. Maybe beneath the business suits and the corporate power, Vivian Ashford was something more than what the TV showed. But he'd never know. People like her didn't return to places like this. That chapter was closed. At least, that's what Daniel Cross believed. He had no idea how wrong he was. 3 days later, Daniel was at Lily's school, fixing a burst pipe in the teacher's lounge. His hands were covered in grease, his shirt had dark stains, and he smelled like rust and old water. Just another Tuesday. He was under the sink, wrench in hand, when he heard it. A car engine. Smooth. Expensive. Purring like a predator. He ignored it. Rich people occasionally drove through this neighborhood, usually lost, usually just passing through. Then he heard voices outside, excited whispers. Someone gasped. Daniel slid out from under the sink, stood up, looked out the window. A black luxury sedan sat in the school parking lot. Tinted windows, chrome details that caught the afternoon sun. The kind of car that costs more than most people's houses. The driver's door opened. Vivian Ashford stepped out. She wore a white business suit, heels that clicked on the pavement with purpose, sunglasses covering her eyes. She looked like she'd walked out of a magazine spread. Power personified, and she was walking directly toward the school entrance. Directly toward him. Parents stopped talking. Teachers froze mid-sentence. Everyone stared. Daniel wiped his greasy hands on a rag, leaving dark streaks on the fabric. He walked outside, intercepting her before she reached the building. "Can I help you?" Vivian removed her sunglasses. Her eyes locked onto his. "Mr. Cross, we need to talk." Daniel stood there, greasy rag in hand, very aware of how he must look. Work clothes stained, face probably smudged with dirt, smelling like old pipes and rust. And here was Vivian Ashford, looking like she'd just stepped out of a boardroom where she'd probably made someone's quarterly earnings in an hour. "If this is about the money again," he started. "It's not." Her voice was firm, cutting through his words cleanly. "It's about the truth." She pulled out her phone, turned it toward him. The screen showed security footage, grainy but clear enough. Time-stamped from 3 nights ago. It showed Daniel carrying her from a burning car, his face determined, focused, heroic in a way that made him uncomfortable to watch. "You saved my life," she said quietly. "I didn't even thank you properly." Daniel shrugged, looked away. "You already did. By walking away and leaving me alone." She flinched, just slightly, but he saw it. That was cold. So was treating kindness like a business deal. The silence between them stretched out, heavy and tense. Around them, Daniel could feel eyes watching. Parents had stopped loading kids into cars. Teachers were lingering by the entrance. Everyone was watching this scene unfold. Then Vivian looked past him, and her gaze softened. Daniel turned. Lily was on the playground, laughing with her friends, her braids bouncing as she ran, her brown skin glowing in the afternoon sunlight. She was playing tag, completely unaware of the drama unfolding nearby. "She's your daughter," Vivian said. It wasn't a question. "My whole world." Vivian watched Lily for a long moment. Something in her expression changed, the corporate armor cracking just a little. "She's lucky to have you." "I'm lucky to have her," Daniel corrected. Vivian turned back to him, stepped closer, lowered her voice so only he could hear. "Daniel, I came here to apologize and to make something right. You don't owe me anything." "Maybe not, but I want to do this anyway." She pulled an envelope from her designer bag. The paper was thick, expensive. She opened it, revealing a legal document inside. Daniel recognized the letterhead immediately. His landlord's property management company. His stomach dropped. "What is this?" "I own the building you rent." Her voice was steady, matter-of-fact. "As of yesterday, I bought it outright." The world seemed to tilt. "You what?" "And as of this morning, your lease is paid off. The house is yours. Free and clear. No mortgage, no rent, no strings." Daniel stepped back like she'd slapped him. His mind reeled. "You think..." He had to stop, collect himself. "You think kindness is a debt to be repaid? I don't want this." "It's not about debt." Her eyes held his, steady and sincere. "It's about starting something better." "Better for who?" "Your conscience." She didn't blink. "For people like you. People who do the right thing and get nothing in return except more struggle." "I got something," Daniel said, his voice hard. "I gotta sleep at night, knowing I helped someone. That's enough." "Is it?" She gestured around them, at the aging school building, at his old truck in the parking lot, at the neighborhood that had seen better days. "Is this enough? Working yourself to exhaustion, struggling every month, wondering if you can afford your daughter's field trip? I don't need saving." "Everyone needs saving sometimes, Daniel." Her voice cracked, just a little, just enough to make him pause. "Even me." Daniel looked at her, really looked at her. and for the first time he saw past the expensive suit, the corporate power, the untouchable image. He saw pain. Old pain. Deep pain. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly. Vivian looked away, out toward the playground where Lily was still playing. "I grew up poor," she said finally. "Foster care. Group homes. I wore the same shoes until they had holes in them. I ate school lunches because they were the only meals I could count on. I clawed my way to the top, fought for every inch, and somewhere along the way—" She paused. "Somewhere along the way, I forgot what it felt like to be helpless. Until the crash. Until the crash." She smiled, but it was sad. "You reminded me that money can't buy character. It can't buy courage. And it definitely can't buy the kind of man who saves a stranger in a storm without calculating what he'll get in return." Daniel felt his anger melting. Slowly. Reluctantly. "So what now?" he asked. "Now, I do something I should have done from the start." She handed him another document. "I'm launching a foundation. For single parents. Specifically single fathers, because nobody talks about them. Nobody helps them. Financial support, job training, childcare assistance, legal aid. Real help." Daniel scanned the paper. His eyes widened. At the top, in bold letters, the Cross Foundation. You named it after me?" "I used your name because it represents the only kind of strength I respect anymore. Quiet, honest, human." He stared at the document, his name printed there, connected to something so much bigger than himself. "I don't know what to say." "Say, you'll be part of it." She looked directly at him. "Say, you'll help me identify families who need support. You know this community better than I ever could. You know who's struggling, who's trying, who deserves a chance. You want me to work with you? I want you to guide me. Keep me honest. Make sure this actually helps people instead of just making me feel better about myself." Daniel looked at Lily again. Still playing. Still innocent. Still believing her daddy could handle anything. He thought about all the nights he'd stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he was enough. Wondering if he could give her the life she deserved. "If I do this," he said slowly, "we do it my way. No PR stunts. No photo opportunities. Just real help for real people." Vivian extended her hand. Her grip would be firm, he knew. Equal. Deal. He shook her hand. Her skin was warm, her handshake confident, but not dominating. Then she smiled. Not the corporate smile. A real one. Mischievous. "Oh, and one more thing." "What?" "I still have your shirt." Daniel laughed. Actually laughed, the sound surprising him. "Keep it. It looks better on you anyway." A crowd had definitely formed now. Parents, teachers, even some of the kids had stopped playing to watch. Someone had their phone out, recording. A reporter pushed through the crowd. Local news. Daniel recognized her from TV. "Ms. Ashford. Ms. Ashford. Are you and Mr. Cross in a relationship?" Vivian glanced at Daniel. Her eyes sparkled with something playful, something real. "Not yet," she said to the reporter. "But he did lend me his favorite shirt. That's basically a marriage proposal in some cultures, isn't it?" The crowd erupted in laughter. Whispers spread like wildfire. Daniel shook his head, grinning despite himself. "You're impossible." "I prefer determined." "That's the same thing." "Exactly." Lily came running over, breathless and excited, her face flushed from playing. "Daddy, is that the lady from TV?" "Yes, sweetheart. It is." Lily looked up at Vivian with wide, curious eyes. "Are you going to help my daddy?" Vivian knelt down to Lily's level, bringing them eye to eye. "I'm going to try. Is that okay with you?" Lily studied her seriously. "Only if you're nice to him. He's the best daddy in the whole world, and he works really hard, and sometimes he's sad even when he pretends he's not." Vivian's expression softened completely. "I can see that, and I promise I'll be nice to him." "Okay then." Lily hugged her suddenly, spontaneously, the way only children can, with complete trust and no hesitation. Vivian froze. For a moment she looked lost. Then slowly, carefully, like she was handling something precious and fragile, she hugged Lily back. When Lily ran back to her friends, Vivian stood up. Her eyes were wet. "She's incredible," she whispered. "She's my reason for everything," Daniel said. Vivian nodded, composing herself. Then let's make sure her daddy doesn't have to struggle anymore. Let's make sure she grows up seeing that good people don't always finish last. She walked back toward her car. At the door, she turned one last time. I'll send the paperwork by the end of the week. And Daniel? Yeah. Thank you. For reminding me why I started climbing in the first place. Why was that? To help people who helped me when I had nothing. I just forgot along the way. She drove away, the sedan purring softly, leaving Daniel standing in the parking lot with a legal document in his hands, and his entire life suddenly tilted in a new direction. Lily tugged his sleeve. Daddy, is she your girlfriend now? No, honey. She's just complicated. I think she likes you. He smiled, pulled her close. What makes you say that? Because she looks at you the way you look at pizza. I thought you said pancakes before. Pizza, pancakes, same thing. Like you're hungry. Daniel laughed, lifted her up, spun her around. You're too smart for your own good, you know that? Mrs. Chun says I get from you. Mrs. Chun is too kind. That night, after Lily was asleep, Daniel sat at his kitchen table and read through the documents Vivian had given him. Really read them. The Cross Foundation. Initial funding, $50 million. Focus areas, single-parent households, job training, educational support, emergency financial assistance. And on the board of directors, Daniel Cross, community liaison. He laughed quietly. Community liaison. Fancy title for guy who knows which families need help. But it was real. This was real. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Hello. Daniel. It's Vivian. His heart did something stupid in his chest. How did you get my number? I'm a CEO. I have people who find things. A pause. That's a joke. Mrs. Chin gave it to me. She approves, by the way. Approves of what? Me. Us. This. Another pause. She said you need someone who doesn't take your nonsense. I don't have nonsense. Everyone has nonsense, Daniel. Yours is that you think you have to do everything alone. He didn't have an answer for that. I'm calling because I want to do this right, Vivian continued. The foundation. I don't want it to be some tax write-off that does more for my image than for real people. I need your honesty, your perspective. I need you to call me out when I'm being me. Corporate and cold? I was going to say out of touch, but yes, that works too. Daniel smiled despite himself. All right, but I have conditions. Name them. First, no press until we've actually helped people. Results first, PR never. Agreed. Second, I want to personally visit every family we help. No checks in the mail. No anonymous donations. They need to know someone cares about their story. That's actually brilliant. Agreed. Third, you have to return my shirt. Silence on the other end. Then Vivian laughed. A real laugh, warm and genuine. That one's non-negotiable. The shirt stays with me. Then, we have a problem. We'll work through it. After they hung up, Daniel sat in the quiet kitchen, holding his phone, feeling like his life had just turned a corner he hadn't seen coming. Maybe this was real. Maybe something good was actually happening. Or maybe he was setting himself up for disappointment. Only time would tell. 1 month later, the convention center downtown was packed. Cameras everywhere. Reporters, influencers, local politicians, everyone wanted to be there for the launch of the Cross Foundation. Daniel stood backstage, uncomfortable in a borrowed suit that fit almost right, but not quite. The tie felt like a noose. The shoes were too shiny. This wasn't his world. Lily sat beside him, wearing a pretty blue dress, her braids adorned with colorful beads. She swung her legs excitedly. Daddy, are you famous now? No, baby. I'm just here. But they named it after you. That doesn't make me famous. Just lucky. A production assistant with a headset and a clipboard approached. Mr. Cross? You're on in 5. His stomach dropped. I thought I was just attending. Ms. Ashford wants you on stage. She didn't tell you. No, she definitely didn't tell me. Lily giggled. You're going to be on TV, Daddy. Thanks for the reminder, sweetheart. The lights in the main hall dimmed. Music played, something inspirational and orchestral. The crowd quieted. Vivian walked onto the stage, and she commanded it instantly. White suit, heels, hair perfect, every inch the powerful CEO. The spotlight loved her. Good evening. Her voice carried across the hall. Thank you all for coming. Tonight, we launched something special. Something personal. The Cross Foundation. Applause filled the hall. Cameras flashed. This foundation exists because of one man. Vivian's voice softened. A man who saved my life and asked for nothing in return. A man who showed me that true strength isn't measured in quarterly earnings or stock prices. It's measured in character. She looked toward the wings directly at Daniel. Daniel Cross, please join me. His heart stopped. Lily pushed him. Go, Daddy. Go. Daniel walked onto the stage, his legs feeling strange, the lights blinding. The crowd erupted in applause. Hundreds of faces, all watching him. Vivian handed him a microphone. Her eyes were warm, encouraging. Say something, she whispered. He stared at her. You didn't warn me. I wanted it to be genuine. She smiled. Speak from your heart. Daniel turned to face the audience. Hundreds of people, all waiting. He cleared his throat. I'm not good at speeches, he said. His voice echoed weird through the speakers. I'm a handyman. I fix pipes. I change light bulbs. I patch roofs. That's what I do. He paused, gathered his thoughts. But being a single dad taught me something important. You don't need money to be rich. You need people who believe in you. You need moments that remind you why you keep going. His voice grew steadier. That night in the storm, I didn't save Vivian because I wanted recognition. I didn't do it for reward or gratitude. I saved her because it was right, because someone needed help and I could give it. That's the whole equation. The audience was silent, hanging on his words. And somehow, that one moment changed everything. She could have forgotten about me, could have moved on with her life. But she didn't. She came back. She listened. She cared enough to turn a single act into something bigger than both of us. He looked at Vivian. She was watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. This foundation isn't about me, Daniel continued. It's about every parent out there doing their best with what they have. Every dad working 2 jobs. Every mom stretching every dollar until it screams. Every person who feels invisible. His voice grew stronger, more passionate. You're not invisible. You matter. Your struggle matters. Your kids matter. And now you have support. Real support. Not charity. Not pity. Partnership. Because we've been where you are. We know what it's like. And we're here to tell you you're not alone anymore. The crowd stood. Applause thundered through the hall like a storm. Daniel stepped back, overwhelmed. His hands were shaking. Vivian took his hand, squeezed it. Her skin was warm. Perfect, she whispered. After the event, they stood in a quiet hallway away from the crowds. Lily was asleep on a couch in the lobby nearby, exhausted from excitement. Vivian pulled out a small box from her purse. Simple, elegant. I got you something. You've given me enough. Just open it. Inside was a pen. Beautiful, clearly expensive. Engraved. Daniel read the inscription, for the man who didn't sell his kindness. His throat tightened. You didn't have to do this. I know, but I wanted to. She stepped closer, close enough that he could smell her perfume, something subtle and expensive. You changed my life, Daniel. You changed mine too. They stood there, the air between them charged with something electric, something neither of them had named yet. I still have your shirt, she whispered. I know. I saw you wearing it in that magazine profile last week. She laughed softly. It's my favorite now. Mine too, even though you're wearing it. Especially because I'm wearing it. She smiled, genuine, warm, vulnerable. You're full of surprises, Daniel Cross. So, are you Vivian Ashford? Behind them, someone coughed. A photographer. One photo for the website? They stood together, professional but close. Their hands touched, just barely, just enough. The camera flashed, capturing something neither of them had admitted yet. The beginning of something real. 6 months later. Daniel stood in front of his new shop, paint still drying on the sign. Cross Mechanics, in partnership with Cross Foundation. The space was small but clean, organized, everything he'd worked for. Real equipment, proper tools, a legitimate business. The bell chimed. He turned. Vivian walked in, and his breath caught like it did every time he saw her now. She wore his white shirt, the shirt, with jeans, her hair down and relaxed, no corporate armor. Just Vivian. Still fits, she said. He grinned. Still stealing my clothes. Borrowing. Sure, let's call it that. She laughed, walked around the shop, running her fingers along his tools, his workbench. This place is perfect, Daniel. It's small. It's honest. Like you. Lily burst through the back door, waving a paper. Vivian, I got into the STEM program. Full scholarship. They're going to send me to space camp. Vivian's face lit up with pure joy. That's incredible. I'm so proud of you. Lily hugged her tight, and Vivian hugged back without hesitation now, natural and easy. Daniel watched them. His daughter, this woman who'd become so much more than a stranger he'd saved. Family, he realized. They'd become family. Lily disappeared to do homework in the office area. The shop went quiet. Vivian turned to Daniel, and something in her expression had changed. Nervous, vulnerable. I have something for you. Another gift? Vivian. Just open it. Tomorrow. Promise me you'll open it tomorrow, not today. Why not today? She handed him an envelope, cream-colored, sealed with actual wax. Old-fashioned, because I want you to really think about what's inside. Take your time. No pressure. You're scaring me. Good. She touched his face, her fingers gentle. You make me feel things I forgot I could feel. Like what? Like I'm home. Her eyes were wet, like I finally found the place I'm supposed to be. Daniel pulled her close, wrapped his arms around her. You are home, he whispered. They kissed, soft at first, then deeper, like they'd been waiting months to do this, to finally cross this line they'd been dancing around. When they pulled apart, Vivian was smiling through tears. Open it tomorrow, she said again. Why not now? Because I want you to really consider it. Think about what it means. For you, for Lily, for us. She left, and Daniel stood alone in his shop, the envelope burning in his hand like fire. That night he couldn't sleep. He lay in his bed, the bed that was now his in a house that was now his, and stared at the ceiling. Morning came slowly, painfully. At dawn, he opened the envelope. Inside was a card, handwritten in Vivian's elegant script. Daniel, you saved my life in a storm. But you did more than that. You saved me from becoming someone I hated. Someone who measured worth in dollars and success in acquisitions. You reminded me that kindness is the greatest currency. That honor matters more than wealth. That love, real love, is built on respect, not transaction. I'm not asking because I owe you. I'm not asking to repay a debt. I'm asking because I can't imagine my life without you. Without Lily. Without the man who threw my money back in my face and taught me what integrity really means. Will you marry me? V. The second page was already designed, an invitation already printed. You are invited to celebrate the wedding of Vivian Ashford and Daniel Cross. Daniel's hands shook. Tears fell onto the paper, blurring the ink. He laughed and cried at the same time, sitting alone in his kitchen as the sun rose. Lily appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Daddy? Why are you crying? Because something impossible just became real, sweetheart. Is Vivian going to be my mom? He looked at his daughter, this amazing, brilliant, beautiful child who deserved the world. Would you like that? More than anything. Then yes, baby girl. Yes, she's going to be a mom. Lily screamed with joy, jumped into his arms, and they danced around the kitchen like fools, laughing and crying and celebrating. Life was changing again, but this time it felt right. It felt like destiny. 3 months later, the wedding was small, intimate, just close friends and the families they'd helped through the foundation. Lily stood between Daniel and Vivian, wearing a white dress, her braids adorned with tiny flowers, holding both their hands. The officiant spoke, but Daniel barely heard the words. He was too busy looking at Vivian, strong, beautiful, vulnerable Vivian, who was looking back at him with tears in her eyes. "Do you, Daniel?" "I do." He didn't wait for the rest. The crowd laughed. Vivian smiled, eager, impatient. "I've waited long enough for this." "Do you, Vivian?" "I do. Forever and always, I do." They kissed before permission was given. Didn't care about tradition. Didn't care about anything except this moment, this commitment, this family they were building. At the reception, Daniel gave Vivian a small box. "Now, I have something for you." She opened it. Inside was a key. Old, worn, familiar. "What's this?" "The key to my truck. The one from that night. I restored it. Fixed everything. It runs perfectly now." She stared at it, her eyes filling. "You kept the truck?" "Some things are worth keeping." He took her hand. "Like us. Especially us." They danced. Lily joined them, and the three of them swayed together on the dance floor. A family forged in a storm, built on honor, sealed with love. Vivian whispered, "Sometimes kindness saves a life." Daniel added, "Sometimes it saves two." Lily finished, "Sometimes three." They held each other as the sun set through the windows, painting the room in gold and orange light. The photographer captured it, the three of them, together, complete. Their story had ended, but their life together was just beginning. Daniel was teaching a workshop at the Foundation's new community center. 20 single fathers, all learning basic home repair skills so they could save money on maintenance, maybe even start their own small businesses. He was showing them how to fix a leaking faucet when he heard familiar footsteps. Vivian entered, but she wasn't alone. She was holding a baby, 6 months old, brown skin like his. Vivian's eyes, Lily's smile. Their son, Joshua. Lily walked beside her, now 9 years old, carrying Joshua's diaper bag and taking her role as big sister very seriously. "Daddy, Joshua wanted to see you work," Lily announced. The men in the workshop all stopped, watching this interaction. Daniel wiped his hands, walked over, took Joshua from Vivian's arms. The baby gurgled happily, grabbed his father's nose. "This is my family," Daniel told the workshop. 2 years ago, I was where you are, struggling, worried, wondering if I was enough." He looked at Vivian. She was wearing the white shirt, his shirt, under a blazer. "Still, I learned something important," Daniel continued. "Being a good father isn't about how much money you make. It's about showing up. It's about teaching your kids that character matters, that kindness matters, that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, even when nobody's watching, that matters most of all." One of the men raised his hand. "Mr. Cross, how did you know she was the right one? How did you know to trust her?" Daniel thought about it. "She saw me at my worst, greasy, broke, angry about how she offered me money, and she didn't walk away. She came back. She listened. She let me be honest without punishing me for it." He looked at Vivian. "That's how you know. When someone sees all of you and stays anyway." After the workshop, they walked through the community center. The walls were covered with photos, families they'd helped, businesses they'd started, kids who'd gone to college on Foundation scholarships. "We did this," Vivian said quietly. "We actually did this." "You did this," Daniel corrected. "I just pointed you in the right direction. We did this together, like everything else." Lily tugged Vivian's hand. "Mom, can we get ice cream?" Vivian's eyes always got a little wet when Lily called her mom. Even after 2 years, it still hit her. "Of course, sweetheart. What flavor?" "Chocolate." "No, wait, strawberry." "No." "Get both," Daniel said. "You're a kid. That's what being a kid is for." They walked out into the sunshine, a family of 4 now, complete and whole. Daniel's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mr. Cross, my name is Thomas. I heard about your foundation. I'm a single dad, 3 kids, just lost my job. I don't know where else to turn. Can you help?" Daniel showed the message to Vivian. She read it, then looked at him. "What do you think?" "I think we have room for one more family. Then let's help him." Daniel typed back. "Thomas, we're here. You're not alone anymore. Let's talk tomorrow." "Daniel." They continued walking, Lily skipping ahead. Joshua babbling happily in his stroller, Vivian's hand in Daniel's. The sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant colors. Do you ever think about that night? Vivian asked. The storm? Every day, Daniel said. Best storm of my life. Mine too. She squeezed his hand. Thank you for not leaving me in that car. Thank you for coming back. Always. Lily called back to them. Mom, Dad, hurry up. The ice cream place closes in 30 minutes. Daniel laughed. Since when does she care about closing times? Since she became a big sister and decided she's in charge of everything. They caught up to Lily and together, all four of them, walked toward the ice cream shop, toward the rest of their lives, toward whatever came next. Because they'd learned the most important lesson. Sometimes kindness saves a life. Sometimes it saves a soul. Sometimes it builds a family. And sometimes, when you help someone in their darkest moment without expecting anything in return, the universe gives you everything you never knew you needed. Daniel had saved Vivian in a storm. But really, they'd saved each other. And that made all the difference.